Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Rose Tarot and Astrology. I am your host, Mel Rose, and today is Friday, August 16, 2024. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for being here with me today and checking in on your current astrology. I feel very happy and grateful to be here today. It is a gorgeous, if pretty warm morning here in Lee's Summit, Missouri, and I'm getting a little bit of a late start, so you see me inside where the air conditioning is cool. But I am grateful to be here. I hope that you are feeling happy, healthy, whole, well supported. I definitely am. And thank you so much again for joining me. Now, before I get into the astrology, I'm going to remind you about the online class that I'm giving on Saturday, September 7th. And that is through Nadia Shah's Synchronicity University. This is a class about knowing your natal moon sign and paying attention to moon phases and using that information to create and navigate in your personal life a life of comfort for your home and among the people you keep close. So if that sounds interesting to you, please join me Saturday, September 7th on Synchronicity University. You can get the class for as little as $5. But there are 5 speakers in the series. So if you go to sign up for the class for $5, you're gonna spend $5 per speaker. That's $25 for the whole series of classes, which is a lot of insight and information that you may find very useful. I know that I'm going to sign up for it and watch the other classes as well. Please join me there if you can. So this week, the astrology is wacky, and I said that last time that the astrology is going to be wacky this week, and it's just this week and next week there's so much going on, and it can feel a little bit like a tension of opposites, like things are happening one way and the other way at the same time, and that can be a little confusing. It can make for a little bit of back and forth in our lives, a little bit of uncertainty, right? So I just want you to be aware of that. The sun is in Leo. It's in the final week of Leo, so it's about to move on into Virgo next Thursday. And it's a good time to look back on how Leo season has gone for you. You know, when the sun is in Leo, we sort of take pride in what it is that we're doing and what it is that we have created or are creating. We like to be recognized for what it is that we bring to the world. And one way to help bring that about is to make sure and show appreciation and recognition for what others bring into your life to help you feel supported and help you have the growth that you seek. So don't forget to show appreciation for the other people around you. Last Wednesday, Mercury backed back up into Leo. Mercury's been retrograde in Virgo, which, you know, Mercury retrograde in Virgo, pretty particular kind of paying attention to the details and making sure you have your plans correct before you move into them already. So Mercury was at home in Virgo. It didn't feel like that much of a challenge. Now, Mercury retrograde in Leo can be a little bit more of a challenge because it's more about self-expression and how you use your words and your plans to shine for other people, right? How you show up in terms of the plans that you're making and the words that you're using, and also the traveling around that you do, like your day-to-day running around doing chores, dropping by the school, dropping by the gas station, the grocery store, all of that stuff. Okay, so be careful in traffic. Make room for everybody. Don't act like you're the only one out there, right? And you know, just make room in your life. Have a little spaciousness in your life to make sure you check your details before you move forward on a plan, and to just make sure that you have what you need before you set off on your next adventure. Because Mercury retrograde in Leo, if that were the only thing that was going on, aces, very easy to navigate, right? But on Wednesday, Mars made a conjunction with Jupiter. This is our action and our assertiveness and even sort of our impatience combined and under pressure with Jupiter, which is this optimistic, positive expansion of anything it touches. And from our perspective, literally touching Mars, which is our assertiveness, right? So whatever we act on at this time might be blowing up for us. It might be getting bigger. The idea is to act on what you'd like to see expanding, not take action on things that you don't want to see expanding, right? Don't feed the seeds you don't want to grow, feed the seeds you do want to grow. But, you know, Jupiter, you know, Mars is conjunct to Jupiter, and that that happened a couple days ago. We're still very much in the vibration of it. They're still close enough to have an impact on us. But then late last night, Mars also made a square to Saturn, and that's more of a limiting vibe. That's more of a roadblock, or some sort of Saturn restricts and it contracts. So where Jupiter expands whatever it touches, Saturn puts limits on whatever it touches. And so again, there's this push and pull. There's this sort of tension of opposites where I'm taking action on what it is that I want to see grow, and then a roadblock might come up, or some sort of reason why I can't make progress at this moment, or reason to stop and think about the progress that I want to make, that I'm trying to make. Now would be the time. Now would be the time to reflect on whether the things you're acting on really do reflect the progress that you want to be making. And then, that square comes in. It's kind of a difficult aspect, but it really just begs the question, are you going to let this stop you? And, the answer might be yes. If you find that you're not making the progress that you want, or you're not getting the outcome you want, it might be a good time to, just put a hard stop on, one set of activities, one, plan to move forward, and revise before you go ahead and try to make progress again. And Saturn says revise in favor of things being stronger, of things being more foundational, revise in terms of, doing what's responsible, making sure of your safety and your security going forward as you're taking action. And the other thing that says revise is that the moon is in Capricorn today, and it's a waxing gibbous moon, so it's very close to the full moon. We're going to have that full moon on Monday, and I'm going to discuss that with you here today. We have a full moon coming up on Monday, and so here in the final days leading up to the full moon, this is absolutely the time when you're trying to culminate something. You want to get a couple of things done in time for that full moon, and this is the time to be sort of like checking our work as we go and making adjustments. Okay, so it's okay to, like I said, pull back from the way you were doing something, notice something you could do better, notice something you could add into the plan to make the outcome better, and incorporate that, right? Make the changes as you go so that you can have the fullest, best possible outcome that you can have at this time. So that's the moon, and the moon is in Capricorn. We need mountains to climb and problems to solve. We're very much in worker mode. We're very much in goal-oriented mode. That's a great vibe to be in right now. But understand, again, we have that push and pull where, Jupiter wants to expand things for us and Saturn wants to limit things for us. And it's all about what we're taking action on. So, be careful in your actions. Be careful with yourself. Be careful with the people around you, and really just really double check before you move forward. Okay, just make sure you know what the plan is and what it is you're trying to create as you create it. Okay, so that was yesterday. Also yesterday we had the sun come into a trine with Chiron, and we're still feeling that vibe as well. So this is very optimistic, very easy to allow some kind of problem solving to come in, some kind of healing to come in. Okay, the sun is in Leo and Chiron is in Aries. This is very fiery kind of vibe. Mercury is retrograde in Leo as well. So we do have fiery vibes on our side here for healing, and heat does heal, fire does heal, it purifies, it cleans, it cleanses, right? So the healing light of the sun is allowing this grace, and it's almost as though it's not something that we can necessarily act on, but this grace is allowing us to see how we might heal, how we might solve a problem for ourselves, how we might feel better about something that hurt us in the past. It allows us to see it, sun illuminating it based on our sense of purpose. And if we just allow that healing to happen, if we allow that information to settle in our hearts, our minds, and our bodies, then we might find ourselves coming out of this week feeling somewhat better about ourselves, feeling somewhat more whole and well and supported. So within that tension of opposites, we have this really beautiful, gracious moment where healing is opening up for us, giving us an opportunity to just receive it, to feel better about ourselves, our lives, the things that we've been through. Okay, so that's the last couple of days. Friday today is a pretty mild day. Tomorrow, Saturday, pretty mild day. And I'm grateful for that, because these vibes that we're working with, they are still in play, right? The tension of opposites, the grace and healing. This is all the Mercury retrograde. This is still all in play for us. So, it's a good couple of days to sort of sit with the vibes as they are and feel the vibes that are coming up too, because on Sunday is a big day. Mercury is going to square to Uranus, and that's that's going to be some maybe surprise information coming in, maybe even some information that sort of threatens to stop us or block us or just keep us from making the progress that we thought we were going to make. Squares, again, they beg the question. They say, are you going to let that stop you? Are you going to let that slow you down? Or are you going to take action to get over this hump, right? And with Uranus in there, it's a surprise hump. It's not something that you can necessarily see coming. And it might be a positive thing. Uranus brings, upgrades in perspective and in technology. So, it may be a very pleasant surprise, but look for surprises this weekend, okay? Especially when it comes to your communication and your planning and your running around. Again, Mercury retrograde in Leo. Be careful out there in traffic, okay? Be careful in all the different kinds of traffic, okay? And also on Sunday, Mercury has a cazimi with the sun. Mercury backs up into and basically from our perspective sits at the center of the sun on Sunday. And this is revelation. This is something coming to light. This is something becoming more obvious, or something in our conversations really opening our eyes to something. Okay, so keep your eyes peeled for that illumination that comes up on Sunday, because Mercury is retrograde. We may not necessarily be expecting what it is that comes to light, but the sun and Mercury combined under pressure in Leo, where the sun is at home. I think this has a capacity to be very positive, very growth oriented, very intense, but allowing us to create a better sense of peace, a better sense of recognition, a better sense of pride in what it is that we're doing. And also on Sunday, Venus is going to have a square to Jupiter. Now, Venus and Jupiter are our lesser and greater benefics. That means they tend to make things nicer, right? They're our positive planets. So when they square off with each other, squares can be difficult. They can be challenging. They ask us, how are we going to move forward? How are we going to get over this hump? But Venus square to Jupiter, it can be, it doesn't have to be like a negative, difficult challenge, like how are we going to get over this hump? And in fact, when Venus and Jupiter are in aspect to each other, it can be more of a question of like, are we going to create a problem for ourselves? Are we going to overindulge, overdo it, take too much, give too much, or just maybe shoot for too big an outcome, right? And I'm not saying that we don't deserve big positive outcomes for ourselves, but there is that sense of sometimes biting off more than you can chew, and that's what that feels like coming up on Sunday. So you've got a surprise Mercury square Uranus, you've got a revelation, you've got information coming to light, and then you also have a little bit of a tendency toward maybe overindulgence or just overdoing a little bit. So be careful about that on Sunday. Because, and I know this is going a little long, but I really want to prepare you for next week. Monday is the full moon in Aquarius. And if that were just the thing, if that were just the thing that were happening, again, I would say, yay, we're having a full moon, celebrate your culminations. It's in Aquarius. Think about your community. Think about how you connect with others. Think about the systems that you're a part of and what you can do to ease the flow of information and people through those systems. However, on that day, Venus is going to go into opposition with Saturn. So again, we had Venus make an aspect with Jupiter, and now Venus is making an aspect with Saturn. And that gives us that push and pull again, that tension of opposites. Okay, Jupiter wants to expand. And with Venus, it wants to expand on behalf of what it is that we want, what we desire, what we like, love, and can't get enough of. But with Venus opposite Saturn, Saturn is our greater malefic, so it kind of limits and it brings in barriers, boundaries, limitations. It reminds you what you're responsible for, right? It reminds you what's the practical thing to do. So, that can be a little bit challenging. You've got that expansion and you've got that contraction kind of coming in one day after the next. So, ride the waves, friends. Okay, you're going to feel some sort of conflicting vibes. You're going to feel things trying to grow, and you're going to feel yourself come up against those limitations as well. And I just want you to be prepared for that, because it's a full moon and things can get a little wild. So we just want to be mindful of ourselves and what it is that we are engaging in, what it is we meant to complete by this day, Monday, for the full moon. And sort of like how we are interacting with others. Again, Mercury is retrograde in Leo, so we just want to be careful with ourselves and others, and we want to be, paying attention to the green lights and the red lights. Okay, just like really be engaged in what's happening around you, so that you don't miss a signal and run up against a really hard boundary. Now, also on Monday, the Sun is going to square Uranus, so that is. Mercury just squared Uranus yesterday, Sun squaring Uranus. That's another surprise coming up, or another, change that we were not expecting will be illuminated for us. That square makes it maybe a little challenging, a little difficult. Again, asking the question, are we going to let this slow us down? Are we going to let this stop us? Or are we going to use this information to push forward? And then also, it's the full moon, and the big one that day is that Jupiter is squaring Saturn. And this is a vibe that we've been in for a while, but that's the culmination, the first or second of three culminations of this square. That's Jupiter expansion and Saturn contraction in that hard aspect together that's begging the question. So, there's a vibe here that's like things that used to work don't necessarily work anymore. And it might be a time to be thinking about, especially with this full moon, what have I outgrown? What am I, what do I feel complete on, right? What do I no longer need to expand or contract? What do I just feel complete on? And therefore, what have I outgrown? What can I begin to think about letting go? Because that's what comes with the full moon, that culmination, like we've accomplished things and we can celebrate it. And then after we celebrate it, we tidy up after our celebration, we let it all go, we start our creative cycle over again in a couple of weeks. So that's Monday. Just Monday, you've got that Venus opposite Saturn, you've got Venus squaring Uranus for a surprise, you've got the full moon in Aquarius, and which is community and systems oriented, and you've got that Jupiter squaring Saturn, which is a vibe that's covering us for actually quite some time. And Jupiter squaring Saturn, it's just that push and pull, that expansion and contraction. It feels like you take 2 steps forward and 2 steps back sometimes, okay? So just be aware that there's going to be a push and pull, and it's there to remind us, it's there to make us think about what we feel complete on and what we're ready to let go of, okay? And then coming up on next Thursday, the Sun is going to move on into Virgo. Venus is going to square Mars. Later in the week, we're going to have some significant aspects with Chiron and Mars. So it's, again, still a very active week. I would say, with the challenges that are coming up, with the squares to Uranus and the stuff that's going on with Jupiter and Saturn, is, if there's something you can pull back from, if there's something that you can give less to, if there's a little bit less of a commitment you can make at this time, I would say make it. And that's tough. I know that the kids are going back to school. I know that things are very busy out there right now because, we're kind of getting back into that Virgo season where we're very diligent and productive. We're starting to get there, and, we are trying to accomplish things, and we're coming up against limitations and boundaries. So it can be challenging enough without taking on more than you necessarily have to do. And I'm going to say that is through next week. Okay, so this week, try to ride with the flow, okay? When things are expanding, go with the expansion. When things are contracting, go, oh yeah, I see, this is the responsible thing to do here, okay? Just ride with that flow, with the expansion and contraction. Flow with the surprises that are illuminated for you. Take the positive experiences, because they're going to be some also not so positive feeling experiences as well. So enjoy those positive experiences when they're coming in for you. Take action on what it is that you want to grow, but notice what is practical as well, and make sure that you are taking care of the practicalities. Okay, I think that's enough. I think that we are prepared for the coming week. If you have any questions or comments about the astrology, how it's treating you right now, or what you anticipate over the next week, please leave them in the comments below. I do appreciate you for being here. If you haven't already liked the video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you all on Monday to talk to you about the current astrology again. Okay, thanks friends. Bye-bye.